This is Joe Krein from Elvis2001.net, and we're on Elvis Express Radio. And I have Pat Priest here with me today. Hi, Pat.
Hi, how are you, Joe?
I'm doing fine. How are you today?
Hot. It's hot here.
Is it hot? Whereabouts do you live? Idaho, wasn't it?
I live in Idaho.
Wow. Yeah, it was quite warm here today in New York State, too. Hey, can you first tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born, where you grew up, what your parents did?
Well, I was born in Salt Lake City, Utah, and lived there until my junior year in high school. Well, I lived in a little town called Bountiful, Utah, which is now a suburb of Salt Lake, and lived there till my junior year in high school, and then we moved to Washington, D.C., because my mother was appointed Treasurer of the United States at that time back in 1952.
Wow.
Going in with Eisenhower in 53. And so I was there and finished school and high school and a couple years of college at a girls' school, and met my husband and married in Washington, D.C., and he was a naval commander. And then we came out to the West Coast, out to California, and that's how I got started in the business. However, I had been doing, a little theater and theater in the round and everything in various places where we were stationed.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, of course, when I finally hit California, I started doing commercials and then just little bit parts. And then over a period of a couple years, they were looking for a girl on the Munsters, and I tested for it. And I tested for it on a Wednesday. They called me on Thursday to tell me I'd gotten it. I signed the contracts on Friday and started work on Monday. And I replaced gal Beverley Owen. She was at first Marilyn. And she just did the first 13, and then she was homesick and wanted to go back to New York because she had a boyfriend back there. And so...
Yeah, and that's
her
where...
fortune was my good fortune.
Yeah. Now, I come from a big Munsters family fan base, actually. We love the Munsters. We love them, on TV land and I got a couple of questions for you from the Munsters. Now, I bet you, how many times have you heard somebody say to you, "So you're the ugly one"? Do you ever get tired of hearing that?
No.
Yeah.
No. They're probably right.
Yeah. No, you're beautiful. Are you kidding me? You're absolutely
I know,
gorgeous.
I know. That was just my character
Yeah.
in relationship to the family.
Yeah. How was it working on
I
the
didn't have to go through all the makeup that they did. I was in makeup a half an hour, and then when we finished in the morning, and then when we finished, I could get in my car and get on the freeway and go home.
And how did
They were 2 hours getting into makeup and an hour getting out of it.
How long did it take the others to get into their makeup?
Well, it took Uncle Herman 2 hours,
Wow.
and Grandpa 2 hours, and it took about an hour and a half for Aunt Lily and Eddie, and it took them about an hour to get out of it.
Wow. Wow.
They just couldn't get in the car and go home.
Yeah, how were all of they to work with?
Oh, wonderful.
Were they?
Wonderful.
Did you become like a little family?
We became a family personally as well as professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And Yvonne and I had children about the same age.
Mm-hmm.
And, in fact, they were the same age. And, we'd go to lunch, talk about our boys. She had 2 boys, and I had 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
And,
do you still see...
Of course, Al was my mentor. He just passed away about 6 months ago.
Yeah. Do you see...
So there's just little Eddie, Butch, Patrick, and myself left.
Yeah, do you see him?
I haven't seen him for a while, not too often.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been doing very many, I have some health issues, so I haven't been doing many memorabilia shows.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know how that is. Now, my wife wanted me to ask you a question. What was actually underneath those stairs? I know Spot was there, but what was that? Was it a big...
Well, Spot was a mechanical tail.
Uh-huh.
2 red lights for eyes.
Uh-huh.
And that was it.
Not much to him, really.
No, and it was dark, so all you saw was the eyes and the tail going under the steps or, around the corner. It was just a mechanical tail. That was it.
Yeah, probably very simple compared to what they do today.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And yet, when, of course, we've been on the air 43 years, at that time, our show had a lot of special effects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the telephone booth that goes into the wall and all that. And
and Grandpa hanging upside down and the lab and, we had a very heavy special effects budget.
Mm-hmm. Well, how did Grandpa hang from the ceiling, or did they just revert the film?
In wires.
In wires. Poor Grandpa.
Well, by piano wires.
Yeah, by piano wire. My goodness.
And a harness.
And, jeez, did he ever fall?
No. No, never did.
Yeah. Did you ever really get to ride in the cars?
Oh, yes, quite a bit.
Yeah, George Burris is...
Grandpa rode on the very top and the back, like the very top kind of high seat, and Butch and I in the middle seat, and then, or little Eddie and I in the middle seat, and then Aunt Lily and Uncle Herman in the front.
Wow. Do you have a favorite episode?
Well, I like the Fregosi Emerald, and I liked the one, A Man for Marilyn. I liked anything that I had more than 2 lines in.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so when did you find out that you were going to be working with Elvis?
Actually, Elvis was just after I finished doing the Munsters.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was 67 that we filmed, and the Munsters filmed from 64 to 66.
Yeah, Easy Come, Easy Go is 67, yeah.
And they came over and Paramount Studios, Hal Wallace was the producer.
Mm-hmm.
And they called my agent, and they wanted to meet with me. And I went over to Paramount Studios and met with him and ended up getting the part.
So you had to read for it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. There was never a problem of them thinking that, everybody's going to think that's Marilyn, or?
No. You know what? They never said anything about that.
Mm-hmm. So when was the first time that you met Elvis?
Pardon?
When was the first time that you met Elvis?
That was like the first day I came on the set.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about it?
Him. And his whole entourage of guys.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, he had 10 men working for him.
Mm-hmm.
And all nice, wonderful, wonderful guys.
Yeah.
And he was very, very shy and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And he was religious at that time.
Uh-huh.
And Priscilla was very much in the picture. However, she never came on the set, and I never met her.
Really?
But, from what the guys told me,
uh-huh.
why they became very, they were, very tight. Or,
yeah.
She was living at his house.
Yeah. What did he say to you? Do you remember the day that he first came and said hi to you and that? Do you remember it, or?
We just kind of sit and talk about, in between shots.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had told me one day, we were talking, and I said I was looking for a car, and, buy a car. And
mm-hmm.
he said, well, do you want to buy my Cadillac? And I said, well, Elvis, I could never afford one of your cars. And he said, sure, yes, you can.
Uh-huh.
I'll make you a good deal. And I said, well, what kind of car is it? And he said, a 1965 Eldorado Cadillac convertible.
Wow. Jeez.
With a black lip and a black top.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, great. I said, that would be wonderful, but, how much do you want for it? And he said, I want $3,000.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, I will buy that.
And you did?
And I did.
Uh-huh.
I bought it, and I drove it for a couple of years. And, of course, you know, along with many foolish things that I've done in my life, I drove it for a couple of years, and then I turned it in. I traded it in for a Pontiac.
Oh, my God.
A new Pontiac, and had George Barris custom do the top. And that was a retirement fund that I had thrown away.
Yeah, my goodness. Could you imagine what that would be worth now?
Oh,
but you got
and
your
I
memories.
didn't sell it as Elvis's car.
You didn't? So they had no idea when you
No,
turned
they
it in?
had no idea.
That was Elvis's car? Great God.
No idea.
Great God. Hey, they say that Elvis liked to do pranks, and the entourage would do a lot of pranking on the film. Do you remember any of that? Any running around?
You know what? I don't.
No?
You know, the guys would kind of joke around. And, you know, sometimes the guys had little inside jokes with one another. But, you know, I wasn't aware of what they were.
Mm-hmm.
But he had wonderful guys, and I, you know, spent time talking with them, and Sonny was great, and I went to lunch with the guys, and Joe Esposito, who was his manager, Joe has, he lives up in Sacramento, and I've talked with him on the phone, and that was always nice, and he's the only one that I have kind of kept in touch with.
Really? Oh. Did you ever run into Colonel Parker?
Never did. Never saw him, never came on the set.
No? Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
All the guys came on the set every day.
Yeah, but you never saw Colonel Parker.
Never saw Colonel Parker.
And you never saw Priscilla on the set?
Never saw Priscilla. No.
Is there anything that happened in the movie while doing the movie that you can tell us? Anything else that happened that would be interesting to the listeners?
But you know what? No, there was nothing. There was nothing really exciting. You know, and when we filmed out in Catalina, and several times we'd all go, all of his guys and all of us would go into town, you know, and to get a bite of dinner, and just a little restaurant. But you know, at that time, I mean, it was just a job to me, and Elvis was just, you know,
another person to work with.
I mean, I never got an autograph from him or a picture, nothing.
Wow. I never got to ask you.
Pictures that I had taken with him when we were on the set in scenes. That, you know, were taken by the studio. But that was it.
I never got to ask you, were you an Elvis fan?
Well, I liked his music. But I've never been a strong fan of anyone in the movies. I never have.
No.
I don't, and it just wasn't. I didn't go to movies much, and...
My goodness, you're an actress and you didn't go to the movies much.
No, well, we lived in a little tiny town, and we only had one little movie theater. And my mother wouldn't let me see any horror films or anything like that.
And you do the Munsters.
Yeah, and I do the Munsters. But, you know, so, and to this day, and then, you know, we lived in Idaho. We were 30 miles away from a movie theater. It was 30 miles in, 30 miles back, 60 miles to go to a movie. So, you know, I just got in the habit of watching TV. I don't watch a lot of it. I don't watch any of the series or anything, but, you know, certainly watch the news and...
Yeah.
And I'm a Fox junkie.
Yeah. How did you think Elvis was as an actor?
I thought Elvis was good. Elvis was always on time. He always knew his lines. He never gave anyone one bit of trouble. He never disagreed with anyone. He did a great job.
No problems on the set with anybody?
No problems at all. I never heard him even you know, argue with the director or anything. He was a super nice guy.
Did he ever say anything about the film itself? I mean, because that's getting like toward the end of his film career when he was kind of disillusioned with his movies. He just felt that he wasn't getting movies with substance. No, he did his job.
It's just a job. And, you know, when you're in the industry, it all becomes just a job.
Does it?
Yeah, it really does. It's not glamorous at all. And doing the Munsters and doing TV, it's not glamorous at all.
No.
It's work. And it's long, and it's tiring all day. Nothing is shot in sequence. You wait all day long, maybe for your scene. They go over it, and lighting, and I mean, it just, you know.
Yeah,
for our little half hour, it took us 3 full days until 7. We started 8 o'clock in the morning to like 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm. I just interviewed John Rich, and now John Rich was the director on Easy Come, Easy Go, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah, and he told me how the...
he was a wonderful guy.
Yeah, and he said how things are not done the way...
Very easy to work with. And
was it?
You know, the whole set was just a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing, to make you nervous, nothing to... Everybody was friendly, all of his guys.
Mm-hmm. About what time?
Probably one of the most pleasant jobs I've ever had.
About what time would you get on the set?
We would start filming at 8.
Uh-huh.
So I would get in the studio like about 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
And I live 45 miles away, so I get up about 4:30.
Oh, it's a long day.
It's a long day. Yeah.
So, do you remember the last day? Did Elvis come over and say goodbye to you the last day of filming?
Yes, we all just, everybody, and said what fun we'd had, and shook hands, and kind of had like a little set party.
Did you?
Which they always do after you finish filming.
Mm-hmm.
The director, the producers, they just, the sandwiches and drinks and things like that.
There was no gifts or anything, or
no,
no, nothing like that.
And everybody just said, how much fun we'd had and how enjoyable it was, and just chit chat like you were at a cocktail party.
Yeah. Did you stay in touch with Elvis afterward? Did you ever see him again?
Never saw him again.
You never saw him in person?
Never saw him in person.
Oh
again.
Boy.
No, never.
No, but did you feel that you hit it off with him okay? Now, you never dated him.
No, never dated him. No, Priscilla was very much in the picture.
Yeah, oh, that's right, and you said that. That's true.
Because he married shortly after that.
Yeah. Now, how did you hear?
And also at that time, I was married and had 2 children.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, how did you hear? When did you hear? And where were you? If you can kind of explain to me that when you heard that Elvis had passed away.
Oh, I thought it was very sad. I think a friend called me to tell me that she'd heard it on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very sad because, I'd kind of followed his career afterwards, and I kept thinking, one day I'd go to Vegas, but, I didn't want to go and ask if, they could get me seats. I'm not that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And to see him when he was appearing there, but I never did, and I read everything about him and kind of, started to see him going downhill.
Yeah, so you became a fan then.
So, well, I did.
Yeah.
In just, it is a person, keeping track of a person that you enjoyed and you liked, and you kind of watched them fall apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's sad.
True. It's true, yeah. So, what did you do after that? Can you kind of tell me some of the other...
Well, I did a lot. I guess I did, then, of course, the Munsters shortly after that. I did a lot of television commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did guest spots on all the major TV shows.
Yeah, Ironside, Bewitched.
I did Mission Impossible, Bewitched,
Mary Tyler
Moore Show, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Funny Valentine,
wow.
Wendy and Me, My Favorite Martian, Dr. Kildare,
Wow.
Perry Mason.
Yeah, and you had quite a career. Who did you enjoy working with the most?
Probably my own family on the Munsters.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, when you're just there, you're doing a guest role, and you're just there for a couple days. You don't, or maybe even one day on a show, you really don't get to know anyone that well.
Right. Yeah.
And I was married, and, and I lived 45 miles out from the studios. And when I was finished working, I headed home. And so I really never had any friends in the motion picture business.
Mm-hmm. How
all
long?
my friends were, in other walks of life.
Uh-huh. I meant to ask you, how long was the shoot for Easy Come, Easy Go?
Well, let's see. We filmed 2 weeks in Catalina.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was about 6 weeks.
Wow, that is awfully fast
4
for a
to
movie.
6 weeks.
Yeah, that's really fast for a movie.
Yeah, it was. And I think it was 6 weeks, the 2 weeks and then a month in the... But, when all the sets are done and all the sets are ready...
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can't hold me to that. It could have been a little bit longer, but it just seems like...
No, that's okay. I won't...
Let me tell you, I'm 71 years old now, so I'm lucky if I remember anything.
Oh, you're like a fine wine. Don't you worry about it. Hey,
thank you for those kind words.
So what are you doing now? You're retired?
I'm retired.
So what are you doing now?
I'm living in Idaho and have been for about 26 years.
Uh-huh.
And traveling a lot, all about around the world. And we have a place in the mountains of Idaho, a vacation place. And we've been spending the summer up there. And that's about it.
Yeah. Well,
kind of quiet.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you very much for doing this for Elvis Express Radio, Pat.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, and I love your music. I want to thank you so much, Joe, for calling me because, you brought back some wonderful memories. Not a lot of people know, where I live. They don't know what I've done. And it just, it's nice to reminisce once in a while. And I thank you so much, and I love the music on your station.
You gave us memories, though. So I thank you. And, like the Munsters and Easy Come, Easy Go, watching those shows have given me memories with my kids, so I thank you.
Oh, well, my pleasure.